Good health and well-being is the goal 3 of the SDG, which is the Sustainable Development Goal. Now, 1 in 5 people experience or suffer from mental illness, and then 1 in 5 children at some point during their lives also experience mental disorder. But in the worst case scenario, 1 in 25 people die from mental issue. They suffer from mental issue like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or a major depression. Now on the campus show, we are interviewing and trying to throw more light on depression. The SRC would say students' interest is paramount to them. Here on the campus show, we say the youth interest is also paramount to us. And we are here to interview and throw more light and learn about mental disorder. When we come back, I'll unveil my guest to you. Don't go anywhere. You are welcome back to the campus show here with me and Yopon Dechi on the Anyopon Online TV, where we get to university students to talk to them, to find out what they are doing. If they are not even doing something, but they have the voice to speak to inspire you and I, that we can also learn to build our lives. And on today's episode, I must promise it is a very educative and an inspiring one because we have the pleasure and the single honor to interview a counselor from Ghana Institute of Journalism. And before I unveil him, let me tell you a bit about him. My guest today is an assistant registrar at the prestigious Ghana Institute of Journalism. He is also a diligent CEO of Brain Clinic and a co-founder of High Ranking Services. That's a microfinance company. Guys, I present to you Mr. Godfred Osei. Hello, sir.
Hi.
You're welcome to the campus show.
Thank you so much.
And we want to really appreciate you for giving that opportunity to interview you, to throw more light on mental disorder. So before we zoom into the interview, I want to let my audience know more about you. I know you as Mr. Godfred Osei on GIJ campus, but for the benefit of my audience, could you tell us a bit more about yourself and who you are?
Okay, thank you. As you rightly said, my name is Godfred Akwonse. Currently, I'm the school's counseling psychologist and the CEO of Brain Clinic, a privately owned mental health clinic. We've been in this for a while and we are making strides, so it's been good.
Okay. So you being CEO of Brain Clinic, would you say, did you start that initiative before coming to GIJ to coming to the office of the counselor, or how did it begin for you?
Yes, it all started in 2016 where my big sister and myself, we identified the growing trend of mental issues in our community. My big sister is also the head of clinical psychology with the Tekwashi Memorial Hospital. So after my master's degree in guidance and counseling, we decided to come up with something that will give some form of assistance to the community or the people who are going through this mental health issues. We know once we are in the home with someone and the person complains of malaria, we would definitely recommend the person to the hospital.
Exactly.
What if somebody tells you, yes, I'm going through a lot, I'm not able to sleep, I have issues on my mind, I have lost a loved one. This person is also not well, but we don't really have places to recommend such people to. So we started this where people who are going through these mental issues could come, we give them the necessary assistance, then we take it up from there.
Okay, so that's how it started. So you were into this before you even came to GIJ.
Yes.
Okay, so would you say for sure that it was due to what you do that led you to be given the opportunity to be the counselor for GIJ?
Very well.
Okay. So I don't want to find out from you, how long have you been the school's counselor?
Well, GIJ, I joined GIJ in August 2021. So roughly I've been here for over a year and 2 months.
Okay. So can you give us an overview, since you are the school's counselor and you're also the CEO of Brain Clinic, can you give us an overview of what mental health entails?
Okay. When we talk of mental health, any situation you find yourself in that is not able to make you adapt, that is not able to make you adjust well to the society, any situation you find yourself that is making you not relating well with others, especially when it starts to do with your psychological domain. Then we put all those things under mental health. So many people go through things, they feel it is just normal, but at the end of the day, it throws a shadow of its effect on us and the whole society. So, on the nutshell, mental health issue has to do with everything that affects us psychologically.
Okay. So in your submission, you made mention of mental health being you going through something that won't be able to allow you to adjust well in the society. And I believe you can witness to the current economic crisis in the country. A lot of people are not able to adjust well. What would you say? Would you say it is a mental health issue or something? Since a lot are not able to adjust well in the community or even in the country as a whole, as you could hear every day or every hour increment of product or things in the market, others are complaining they're not able to adjust. So would you say for sure that it's also a mental issue or
I just
something?
want to ask a follow up question.
Okay.
If you sleep, you wake up at 11 p.m., you are unable to sleep again, thinking of how you are going to make ends meet the next morning. You don't have what it takes to survive the next day. Do you think you are mentally okay?
No.
If you are unable to sleep, you have a lot on your mind. What are the kids going to eat the next morning? How am I going to work? If you have all these things on your mind, you are mentally unwell.
Okay.
So the economic situation in Ghana now is something else.
There's something else to talk about. Okay, so we'll also put that topic for another day. So I want to find out from you and basically asking this question for the layman out there. When we say mental health and mental disorder, how different is it? How different is mental health different from mental disorder? Are they the same?
Mental health and mental disorder, let's say they are opposite sides of the same coin.
Okay.
From time to time, we do fall sick physically. You may have running tummy, but when you take medications or something, you are healed. There are times we go through some form of illnesses psychologically, but with time, we get better. So common as when somebody we say the person is going through some form of broken heart. Yes, when the incident is at its peak, you feel you are not well.
Yeah.
But after some time, you begin to heal, you begin to get well. Time will gradually heal you. So that is how mental health is. You may not have the issue prolonged, but we say it is developing into a mental disorder when the situation you are going through has gotten a permanent effect or a long-term effect on you. When you get this broken heart and with some after some time, a week, two, some people's own take some time. So a month, a year, if you are able to put yourself together, you are healed, you are fine.
Okay.
But if you go through the same situation and you are unable to, because of what you've been through, you're unable to keep and maintain a good relationship, you're unable to move on with your life. You see the opposite sex and you feel what happened in your previous relationship is going to repeat itself, then you are getting mentally disordered. So the difference between the two is that yes, mental health is what we go through, but we get healed after some time. But it gets to the state where you say it's a disorder when it has a long-term effect on the individual.
Okay, so in trying to understand and also help my audience understand. So, for instance, if Clarice, just a simple, a normal person I'm using,
Okay.
Clarice gets into a relationship with someone, and then the partner leaves her,
Yes.
and then within some few days, let's say 3 days, Clarice gets over herself because she's a strong person.
Yes.
At that point in time, Clarice has gone through a mental health.
She has gone through some form of mental health issue.
Mental health
But
issue.
she's fine.
Okay, so that's what she has gone through. But if Clarice is as weak as the next person that we are thinking of,
Okay.
goes through the broken heart for a long time, like over a year, and as soon as you said, she sees the opposite sex and then she begins to think of her partner, then that means Clarice is
developing a mental disorder.
disorder. Okay, thank you very much. So I want to find out from you, the next question is, do we have categories of mental disorder? And if there are, can you kindly enlighten us on it?
Okay. So, with mental health issues, mental disorder, we categorize them into two. There is one aspect that affects emotions, and there is the other aspect that affects the thought and memory. So, for instance, if a person, let's use the example of trauma. If somebody has gone through trauma, what does it affect? It affects how he feels, how he reacts to issues with the fear that whatever he went through is going to happen again. So that is a feeling that affects how he feels, the emotions.
Okay.
But there are some other aspects of mental disorders that affect memory. The person is unable to coordinate what happened yesterday and today. If the person went through anything yesterday, you ask the person today, and he's unable to remember. Somebody you knew so well yesterday, and now he is unable to recognize you. So those are the two categories: the aspects that affect how we feel, and the aspect that affect our memory.
Our memory. Okay. So memories and emotions are the two main categories.
Yes.
There are more,
Yes.
but these are the two main.
Yes, how it affects us.
So, sir, could you? I want to find out from you who is likely to be affected, who is likely to go through mental ailment. Which person or who exactly? Is it anybody or?
We all go through some form of mental ailment at some point in time. For instance, if I have a lecture, I have a presentation to make, and I begin to feel, how is the class size? What if the student asks questions and I'm unable to answer? What if I'm speaking and I make a grammatical error and they begin to laugh at me? When you begin to feel this thing, what you are going through is some form of mental illness.
Okay.
It is called anxiety. Okay. Everybody goes through it. But when you are able to put yourself together that, oh yes, I have done this before, I am well prepared, I am abreast with the questions that are likely to come. If you're able to put yourself together and meet it up, you are fine. So mental illness does not attack a particular group of people, or we do not have a particular group of people that mental illness is likely to attack. We are all prone to it. You understand? You have travels to make tomorrow morning. You don't want to miss your flight. So you are even unable to have a sound sleep. Your sleep is cut short. Every 2 hours, you suddenly wake up. Am I missing my flight? Yes, there's some form of mental issue that is unable to make you sleep. So everybody goes through it.
Everybody.
Yes,
not a particular.
Yes. It's not limited to some particular persons. Everybody goes through some form of mental illness at some point in time.
Guys, I think we are learning some nuggets here. And if you are still watching, you're watching the campus show here with me and your Pondinchi, and we are interviewing Mr. Godfred Osei, throwing more nuggets on what exactly mental illness is and how best we can tackle this issue. And then the current statistics from the Ghana Mental Health Authority and the World Health Organization suggest an estimated 3.1 million Ghanaians, representing 10% of the estimated 31 million total population, having a form of mental disorder or another, with about 16,000 of the cases reported to be severe. So, I want to find out from you, how should we handle individuals going through mental disorder? From what I've read, how should we handle individuals that are suffering from mental disorders?
What I would say is, so many of them are going through what they are going through currently because they do not actually don't know where to find help.
Okay.
They are going through what they are going through right now because they don't know where to find help. People who are around them don't have the required skills to assist them to come out of whatever they are going through. So what I would say is, people who are going through this mental disorders, let's assist them. Let's guide them to go to places where they can actually find the help they need. We have mental health agencies around. If you go to any hospital, you'll find a mental health specialist there. If fortunately enough, now there is no public university or private university in Ghana that do not have either a counseling psychologist or somebody trained to handle those issues. If you go to our senior high schools, they are supposed to have counselors or clinical psychologists around to assess them whenever anybody is going through any of these mental stresses.
So on the issue of saying that every institution or every field need to have a clinical psychologist or maybe a counselor, and GIJ, we are fortunate to have you here and all that. I want to find out from you, how do you get students to open up to you and them share their thoughts with you to know that this person is suffering from mental disorder?
One major component or characteristic of what we do or our profession is confidentiality.
Okay.
Everybody has some form of fear. What if my story goes out? So if you are unable to give them that confidence that whatever we discuss, whatever you talk to me about is just between the two of us,
Okay.
they will not open up. Let the person feel at home. Maybe in the initial stages, the person may feel a bit reluctant telling you certain things. But as time goes on, when you make the person feel at home, when they make the person feel that no, I am not here to judge you whether what you're going through, whether you did something wrong, that's why it's happening to you. Just put yourself in the person's shoes, understand the person, and with time, when they begin to get comfortable with you, they'll begin to tell you what they are really going through.
Okay. So where you are currently, that's GIJ here.
Yes.
Have you gotten someone or people that have confided in you?
A lot.
A lot.
This is, as I told you, this is my 1 year, 2 months. And from my statistics, I've had over 900 students.
900.
900.
Wow. And
About 913 or something. Yes.
okay. Then I must say you are really doing well. So is it within a team or you are working alone? You do it alone.
Yes. For now, I work alone. But there are times where, especially when we are organizing programs, the last one we did was on suicide. We partnered with Winglow Family International. They came with experts in the field to come have a talk with us. It was a whole seminar where students got the opportunity to express what they are going through, and they were assisted to how they would react when they have thoughts of committing suicide and stuff. Then we had another program that we will help you campaign. They will help you campaign. Brought a team from the Ghana Psychological Council and some people from the Brain Clinic to come assist students with mental health issues they are going through, and that's all over some 300 students in a couple of weeks.
So then I must confess, you are really doing well, and we are hoping that you continue
trying
to do your best for the institution and then the country as a whole. And then my last but one question I want to find out before we end part one is, can bipolar disorder be actually cured? You have heard of bipolar, and can it be?
Bipolar has to do with acute depression and some form of mania. When we talk of mania, it means that's where the distorted memories comes in. Sometimes they are so happy, sometimes they are overexcited, and from nowhere they become so sad. They feel they are worthless. With bipolar, it is a very big it's a very big problem when it comes to healing. You can only give the person some form of treatment. You can take the person through some form of therapies to minimize the effect it has on the person. But to heal the person completely, it is going to be difficult.
So you can't say for sure that it can be utterly cured, that this person suffering from bipolar has been healed completely.
It is very difficult
Very
to say.
difficult to
Very
say.
difficult to say. We may help control what the person feels through medications. What we do here is, there's a difference between counseling psychology and the psychiatry aspect of it. Somebody going through or suffering from bipolar would not have to seek counseling as a remedy. We will only use talking therapy, but he would need the other side, where he will be put on medications to calm him down whenever he is that high. So he will need the counseling aspect, and he would also need the psychiatry aspect to manage him.
Okay. Then, Mr. Osai, I was very enthused when you made mention that you have a lot of students opening up to you. And for a fact, a lot of us, the youth, are going through a lot. And for you being here in this institute, a lot of people opening up to you and you doing your best to also help them. I want to
Yeah.
find out from you, have you gotten a student that have come to you with a problem that you're unable to help?
For now, I met, I think, two. Their issues were more of psychiatry than psychology.
Okay.
You would talk to them, you give them the talking therapy. You
Talking
try,
therapy means that you are talking to them.
yes,
Just
you give them the counseling,
okay.
you try to some form of mental restructuring. But at some point, you realize that it is not giving the effective result you want. They would need some form of psychiatry assistance. So I make the recommendations that they go to the psychiatry where they will be put on medications. Sometimes they get a bit hyper, and it's a public institution. When they get that high, anything could happen. We don't want to have any issue on our hands. So when they are put on the medications, it calms them down and they are able to move or manage themselves better than just using the talking therapy.
Okay. So in this case, in a situation that is over you, if I may say, for better out of words that you can handle,
Sure.
where do you direct them to?
The institute is in partnership with the Kolebu Mental
Okay.
Health Center. So when we have issues like that, we quickly make the arrangements, then they are sorted out at Kolebu.
Okay. Then my last question. In the earlier submission, you did mention that every institution or firm should have a psychologist or something. I want you
Yes.
to throw a bit more light on how critical it is to have a psychologist or maybe a counseling unit as we have here in their institutions or firm or anything.
If you ask me, that is one of the most important things every other institution should consider, because everything we do, from the workplaces, from the various schools, from wherever we find ourselves, the work alone puts some form of stress on us, and our ability or inability to manage the stresses depends on the individual. You may feel you are strong, so when you have the issues, you may know how to go about it, but some other person will not be able to manage it as well as you think you can.
Yeah.
So these institutions or the counseling units should be in every institution to give those who are unable to manage themselves that assistance.
Okay.
Before I joined GIJ, I was the stress manager for a bank, a private bank, and yes, somebody will come for a loan facility, and the business will not go as planned. This person is in distress position, and some of them try to commit suicide. If I'm unable to pay, my house is at stake, this my car I bought recently is at stake, and the person is going through a lot. They don't know how best to repay, but you are able to put them calm them down. Yes, things are not going fine, but what can we do? We are able to find a way out, and at least they are a bit better. Some bankers, some tellers, by close of the day, are unable to balance. You are supposed to give somebody 600, you end up giving the person 6,000. Oversight. And this is, you are supposed to check,
And then make the right thing.
yes, and this banker is in trouble at the end of the day. If you're unable to account for the monies, you are surcharged for the money, and they go through a whole lot of stress. You come to work 6, you close at 8, you have family waiting for you, you have children, like a whole lot. So every institution actually needs a stress management unit to help handle some of these things. So that is it.
Okay, so sir, I think the conversation is getting interesting, but we all want to end it and then continue some other time.
That is
So, guys, as you have watched, Mr. Osei made mention that everybody can go through mental disorder. First of all, a mental ailment or mental health is different from mental disorders. And then he mentioned that it's very critical for every institution and every firm to have a counseling unit in their firm. This is where Tom will allow us to have a conversation and throw more light on mental disorder. But there will be a part 2 of it. So I'll entreat you to wait while you watch the part 2 of this to get a full understanding of it. But whilst you wait, try and then share your thoughts. We want to hear from you. What do you think about mental health? The topic we are discussing is how alarming mental health is to our university students. Share your thoughts with us in the comment section below for us to know what you are doing, we are thinking. And don't forget to subscribe to be the first person to be notified when we post the part 2 of this video. Until then, thank you very much.